The show begins with a young girl named Hannah. Her sister tells her that their family has a special secret. Because of an old curse, people in Hannah's family can turn into dogs when they kiss someone. Hannah grows up and becomes an adult. She refuses to kiss her partners, even if she dates them for a long time. 3 years ago, on her 100th day anniversary with her boyfriend, she didn't kiss him and ran away. Now Hannah is a teacher at Kdrama High School. She works with two handsome young professors, Mr. Lee Bo-Kim, who teaches history, and Mr. Jin Seo-won, who teaches math. Hannah has a crush on Bo-Kim and wonders why Seo-won avoids her like she's a disease. One day, she catches two students trying to make out in school and stops them. She threatens to punish them. Because of this, the students call her BUKC, breaking up kissing couples. During lunch, Hannah's colleague and friend Jia wonders why Hannah dislikes couples who kiss and kissing in general. Bo-Kim invites Hannah and Jia for drinks and barbecue that night, and they agree. After work, they walk to a local restaurant with Bo-Kim and Seo-won. On the way, they find a pet shelter. Hannah learns that Bo-Kim loves dogs, while Seo-won avoids the shop and asks them to hurry. Hannah tries to check a wound on Seo-won's hand, but he quickly pulls his hand away. Hannah is surprised, but they continue with their evening. Later, they are joined by Miss Han Yuna, another colleague, who serves them alcohol. She convinces Seo-won to have a drink with the group. Hannah gets a text message from her friend, telling her that her ex-boyfriend from 3 years ago is now married to her former best friend. Hannah is very angry and starts drinking heavily. During the night, she learns that Bo-Kim is single and doesn't have a specific type of person he's looking for, making him a good match for her. She also thinks that Bo-Kim would accept her conditions since he loves dogs. Seo-won gets a call and hurries outside. Bo-Kim follows him. Jia tells Hannah that this is her chance to make a move on Bo-Kim. Hannah rushes outside, spots Bo-Kim in his jacket, and goes in for a kiss. But she quickly realizes she's kissing Seo-won, not Bo-Kim. She comes to her senses all of a sudden. Bo-Kim sees the two teachers kissing while Jia and Miss Han leave the restaurant. Hannah remembers she has only 1 minute before the curse takes over and dashes towards her house. In a flashback, when Hannah was young, Yuna demonstrated the curse by kissing a boy named Woo-tak. When the boy saw Yuna turn into a dog, he got scared and ran out of her house. In the present, Hannah, who's now a dog, takes the metro to go back home. Yuna and Woo-tak take her in once she arrives. Inside the house, Yuna tries to figure out what happened to Hannah. She tells Woo-tak that Hannah will turn back into a human at dawn, which is 6 hours from midnight. Yuna adds that Hannah has 100 days to break the curse, or she'll stay a dog forever. The only way to break the curse is to be kissed by the same person when she's in her dog form. In another flashback from the Joseon dynasty, Hannah's family was cursed by a man, but there's no mention of how to break it. Back in the present, Hannah wakes up as a human and realizes what happened the previous night. She remembers kissing Seo-won while Bo-Kim saw it all. She tries to write her resignation letter, but Yuna encourages her to be brave and make amends. Hannah manages to get to school but hesitates to enter the staff room. She sees Bo-Kim and asks him to keep the previous night's incident a secret between them. Bo-Kim suggests she should apologize to Seo-won, as he was also startled by what happened. Hannah finds Seo-won leaving the classroom and hears female students talking about how handsome he is. Hannah realizes that Seo-won has been avoiding her during their time at the school and decides to apologize to him. That afternoon, she says sorry to Seo-won for the kiss, and they agree to act as if nothing happened. Before he leaves, Hannah asks Seo-won if he likes dogs. Seo-won is really upset by Hannah's question, but she asks him to go out for drinks to make up for her mistake. She wants to try kissing Seo-won while she's in her dog form to break the curse. She tries to emotionally persuade him, but Seo-won leaves without giving her an answer. Later in the evening, Hannah sees her mother crying because her uncle is being taken away in a dog crate. Her uncle couldn't break the curse and has been in dog form for nearly 20 years, and now he's very sick. That night, Yuna asks Hannah to try and break the curse by kissing Seo-won as if her life depends on it. Yuna and Woo-tak take some cute pictures of Hannah while she's sleeping in her dog form. The next morning, Seo-won finds Hannah cleaning his desk. She tells him she feels guilty and eventually agrees to go out for drinks with her after Hannah keeps asking. During dinner that night, Hannah tries to get Seo-won drunk, but he refuses to drink hard liquor to avoid getting drunk. Hannah follows her sister's advice and secretly adds some soju to Seo-won's beer to make him tipsy. Meanwhile, Yuna and Woo-tak stand by, ready to pick up Hana in case she turns into a dog. Seo-won wonders if Hana wants him to set her up with Bo-kyum. He asks why he disliked her so much and reminds her of all the times he tried to avoid her before. Hana acknowledges that he often ran away from her, but she can't explain why. Seo-won tells Hana that he likes eating dogs, referring to hot dogs, which weirds her out. She realizes that midnight is approaching and hurries out of the diner without saying a word. Hana calls Seo-won, asking him to come to an alley near the restaurant. Hana, now in her dog form, tries to kiss Seo-won, hoping to turn back into a human with no effort. However, when Seo-won sees the dog, he panics and tries to run away, even jumping onto a trash can to get away from the dog. In a flashback to the Joseon era, Seo-won is a king who's romantically involved with Hana, a maid in the palace, but the story quickly shifts back to the present time, where Seo-won is desperately trying to get away from the dog, who is actually Hana, barking at him. Bo-kyum arrives at the scene and notices Seo-won calling the dog a rat and asking him to take it away. Bo-kyum picks up the dog and starts petting it, while Hana is secretly thrilled to be in Bo-kyum's arms. Meanwhile, Yuna and Woo-tak find Hana's clothes in the alley and pick them up. They find Bo-kyum with Hana in his arms and take the dog away. Bo-kyum then drops Seo-won off at home. Seo-won tries to call Hana, but Yuna texts him, explaining that Hana has to be home due to an emergency. The next morning, Woo-tak suggests that Seo-won's fear might be due to a traumatic event, but Hana remains hopeful and determined to break the curse. Seo-won is embarrassed by his fear and wonders if Hana saw him trying to escape from a small puppy. At work, Seo-won asks Bo-kyum to go on a friendly outing to make up for the previous night's trouble. Miss Han overhears their conversation and tries to speak badly of Hana when she learns that Seo-won went out for drinks with her. However, Seo-won stands up for Hana, making Miss Han uncomfortable. As Seo-won leaves the staff room, he runs into Hana. She takes him aside and apologizes for leaving the restaurant without paying the night before due to an emergency. She offers to cover the cost of their meal and tries to get Seo-won to spend more time with her. Seo-won thinks Hana wants him to set her up with Bo-kyum and hesitates to be a matchmaker. Eventually, he agrees and invites Hana to meet Bo-kyum that night. Hana insists that Seo-won join them on the date to ease the tension, and he reluctantly agrees. That evening, they all gather at an escape room, where Hana discovers that Bo-kyum invited Miss Han as well. Miss Han is surprised to learn that Seo-won invited Hana. The four of them get locked inside the room and need to figure out how to escape, with three of them working on the puzzle while Bo-kyum enjoys the scary challenge. Seo-won uses his math skills to decode the lock's password and helps them all escape. Afterward, Hana invites Seo-won for drinks, but he declines, saying he has to go back home. Feeling down, Hana heads back home as Bo-kyum and Miss Han go for drinks together. Bo-kyum sends a picture of him and Miss Han, inviting Hana to join them. However, Hana notices that there are 3 glasses of alcohol on the table and thinks that Seo-won is trying to avoid her, so she takes the bus back home. By chance, Seo-won is at the bus station going home, but Hana doesn't see him. That night, Hana, Yuna, and Woo-tak discuss Seo-won's fear of dogs. They come to the conclusion that because Hana loved dogs and was often around them, that's why Seo-won avoided her. Hana remembers that every time Seo-won ran away from her, there was a dog nearby. The next morning, Hana goes to work with a determination to stay away from dogs in order to win Seo-won's favor. She comes up with a plan to pretend to date a fake Seo-won for a while and kiss him while he's sleeping to break the curse. However, a few students from her class tell her that some boys from another school were smoking outside Jeram High School. Hana approaches the boys as a teacher and threatens to expose them. The boys accuse Hana of harassment and make a threat. Hana is terrified by their comment, but Seo-won arrives just in time to save her. He deals with the boys and learns their names from Yul, a student at Jeram High School. With Yul's help, Seo-won manages to scare the boys away. Back in the staff room, Seo-won notices that Hana is still very shaken by the incident and isn't acting like her usual talkative self. To cheer her up, Seo-won brings her a slice of her favorite tiramisu. He places it on her desk and watches her enjoy the dessert from a distance. Later that day, Seo-won finds Hana sitting alone in the school park and joins her. The two chat for a bit, and Seo-won agrees to be Hana's wingman to help her win Bo-kyum's favor. Hannah asks Seo-won why he's afraid of dogs and realizes that it's a painful memory for him to share. She reassures him that he doesn't need to tell her the reasons and acknowledges his fear. Hannah changes the topic and asks how Seo-won cracked the code in the escape room the night before. Seo-won tells her that the hints all pointed to the Imjin War that took place in 1592, which was the passcode for the escape room. Hannah is impressed by Seo-won's cleverness, and they share a light-hearted moment, joking about how Bo-kyum was unfazed by the scary escape room. In a flashback to the year 1592 in the Joseon era, Seo-won is shown bravely fighting royal guards to rescue Hannah and her friend. In the present time, Hannah goes to bed earlier than usual, and Yuna goes out for drinks with Woo-taek. At the same time, Seo-won is out for his nightly run when he spots a woman walking her 2 dogs. To avoid them, he takes a different route to go home. Meanwhile, at Kdrama High School, Yul encounters the 3 boys who were caught smoking at a convenience store. The boys get into a fight, and Hannah is called to the police station as Yul's guardian. Hannah wakes up from her sleep and hurries to the police station in the middle of the night. Yul explains that he didn't hurt the other boy but that the boy accidentally injured himself by tripping over his own feet. Hannah defends Yul and confronts the other boy's mother for allowing her son to smoke at such a young age. Hannah threatens to report the boy for his earlier threat of assault, and the woman decides not to press the issue, fearing for her son's safety. After everything is settled, Hannah offers to give Yul a ride home. She wonders why Yul hasn't informed his parents and finds out that Yul lives with his uncle, who is currently away. Hannah offers to drop Yul off at home, but she realizes that it's almost 4 minutes to midnight. Since she's about to transform into a dog, she tries to run away from Yul, but he keeps following her. Hannah attempts to call Woo-taek and Yuna, but she accidentally drops her phone into a sewer. Yul offers to retrieve her phone for her, but Hannah asks him to go home and tries to reach an empty street. However, Yul returns her phone, and he witnesses his teacher turning into a dog. He faints but later wakes up and takes Hannah, in her dog form, and her clothes back to his home. Yul gives some water to Hannah and lets her sleep on his bed. He sleeps on the floor, which worries Hannah even more, knowing that she will wake up naked the next morning when she turns back into a human. Hannah tries to stay awake all night so she can get dressed at 6 a.m. when she becomes human again. However, she ends up falling asleep. The next morning, Hannah suddenly wakes up and gets dressed. The episode ends with Yul's uncle finding Hannah in his bedroom getting dressed while he is sleeping on the floor. Shockingly, Yul's uncle is none other than Seo-won. Subscribe so that I can continue this story and make the next part. Thanks for watching.